Hare Krishna to all the devotees.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandvat Pranam to all of you. I invite you and welcome you to the early morning short Bhagavatam class for and on behalf of Radha Govinda Temple, Kolai, Mangaluru, and indeed for and on behalf of His Divine Grace, Sri Ramanishta Das Prabhuji. Let us begin our class with the prayers. Om Ajnantimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshur Unmulitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Shri Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Vijayapataka Swami Niti Namine Namo Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayine Gaura Pratada Namadaya Nagar Gramatarine Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamam Shri Gurun Vaishnavasya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitasya हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे गौदा श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Can I request you all to follow me? Om
Hare Krishna.
Namo Hare Krishna Mataji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Om Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Yam pravrajantamanupeta krutyam dvaipayano virahakatara ajuhava.
Yam
Pravajantam
Pravantamapekamapetam Vidyam Vaipayano
Katara
Virahakatara
Ajuhava.
Ajuhavaha.
Putreti tanmayataya taravo binedu stam sarvabhutaradayam munimanatosmi.
Putreti tannayataya
Taravodhinedu
karovindu
Stam
Sarvabhutardayam
Sarvabhutardayam
Munimanatosmi.
Munimanatosmi.
Yah swanubhavam shruti saramekam adhyatma deepamati tirshatam tamodam.
Yasvanubhavakhilum
Yasvanubhavakhilashrutisaremekam
diksaramekam
Adhyatmadipam
Dhyatmadipam
संसारिणाम करुणयाः पुराणगुह्यं तं व्याससुतमुपयामि गुरु मुनीनाम्।
संसारिणां
करुणयाः पुराणगुह्यं तं व्याससूनुमुपयामि गुरुं मुनीनाम्।
गुरुं मुनीनाम्।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमम्।
नारायणं
नारायणं
नमस्कृत्य
नमस्कृत्य
नरं
नरं
चैव
चैव
नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये।
देवीं
देवीं
सरस्वती
सरस्वतीं व्यासं
देव्यासं
ततो
ततो
जयमुदीरये।
जयमुदीरये।
शृणतां स्वकतः कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः
शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण
कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः
हृदयन्तस्तोयभद्राणि विदुनोति सुरस्तता
हृदयन्तस्थो
हृदयन्तस्थोय भद्राणि
भद्राणि
विनोति
नोति
स्वस्ताम्।
स्वस्तताम्।
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नष्टप्रायेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु
भद्रेषु
भद्रेषु
नित्यं
नित्यं
भागवतसेवयाम्।
भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी
भगवते
श्लोके
श्लोके
भक्ति
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी।
नित्यं भागवत सेवया daily reciting the Bhagavatam and listening to Bhagavatam leads to complete disappearance of all inauspicious things from the life, and it brings Uttama Sloka in our life. Today we are going to recite the fifth canto, first chapter, verse number 6. Who would like to recite this difficult verse first? Srinivas Rao Prabhuji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Danvat Pranam.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yerhi Vavaha Rajan Saraja Putraha Priyavatah Parama Bhagavato Naradasya Charano Pasevayanjasa Vagata Paramartha Satatvo Brahma Satrena Dikshishyamano Avanitala Paripalanayam Nata Pravaraguna Ganaikanta Bhajanataya Swapitropamantritto Bhagavati Vasudeva Eva Vyavadana Samadhi Yogena Samavesita Sakala Kara Kriya Kalapo Naivabhyananda Nandat Yadyapi Tadapratyamnatavyam Tadadikarana Atmanonyasmad Asatopi Parabhavam Anvikshamanaha. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Surekha Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु। यर्हि वावः राजन्स राजपुत्रा प्रियाव्रतः परमभागवतो नारदस्य चरणोपसेवयाञ्जसा अवगतपरमार्थसत्त्वतो ब्रह्मसत्रेण दीक्षिष्यमाणो अवनितलपरिपालनायां नाथ प्रवरगुणगुणैकान्त भाजनतया स्वपित्रोपात्ममन्त्रितो भगवति वासुदेव एवाव्यवधान समाधियोगे समावेशित सकल कारक क्रियाकलापो नैवाभ्यनन्दद्यदपि तदप्रत्यान्मनातव्यं तदधिकरण आत्मनोऽन्यस्माद् सतोऽपि पराभवमन्वीक्षमाणः. हरे कृष्ण प्रभु. It's very difficult.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
I don't know. I just get lost because I don't understand whether it is a Gadya or Padya.
It is all
It's
Gadya
like,
only.
and it's more or
Hey,
less like
Prabhuji.
some of the Bollywood songs, which goes on like
Hare Krishna,
continuous
Prabhuji.
sentences or a dialogue. Yes, Prabhuji.
Can I read?
Madhubai Mataji.
Okay.
Hare
I'll
Krishna
call you
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Go
Krishna
ahead, Mataji.
Prabhuji.
Go ahead.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yarhi Vavaharajan Saha Rajaputraha Priyavrataha Paramabhagavato Naradasya Charanopasevaya Anjasa Avagata Paramartha Satatvo Brahmasatrena Dikshishyamanaha Avanitala Paripalanaya Amnata Pravara Gunaganaikamta Bhajanataya स्वपित्रोपमन्त्रितः भगवती वासुदेवे एव अव्यवधान समाधियोगेन समावेशिता सकलकारक क्रियाकलापो नैव अभ्यनन्द यद्यपि तत् अप्रत्यम्नातं तदधिकरणे आत्मन्यो अन्यस्मात् असतोऽपि पराभवम् अन्वीक्षमाणः. हरे कृष्ण. थैंक यू प्रभु जी.
Thank you, Mataji. Anjali Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण. यर्हि वावः राजन्स राजपुत्रः प्रियव्रत परमभागवतो नारदस्य चरणोपसेवयाञ्जत सावगत परमार्थ सतत्वो ब्रह्मसत्रेण दीक्षिष्यमाणः अवनीतल परिपालनाम्नाथ प्रवर गुण गणैकान्त भाजनतया स्वपित्रोपामन्त्रितो भगवती वासुदेव एवाव्यवधान समाधि योगेन समावेशित सकलकारक क्रियाकलापो नैवाभ्यनन्दन ददपि तदप्रत्याम्नातव्यं तद अधिकरण आत्मनो नस्माद् असतोऽपि पराभवम् अन्वीक्षमाणः. हरे कृष्ण प्रभुजी.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, you are muted, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. May I say? May I?
I'm sorry. I was muted. Sujata Mataji, Hare Krishna
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Go ahead. My apologies.
Hare Krishna. Yarahi Vava Rajan Sa Rajaputra Priyavrataha Parama Bhagavato Naradasya Charana Pasevaya Anjasavagatha Paramata Satatvo Brahma Satrena Dikshasya Manovani Talaparipalanaya Anata Pravara Guna Gunaikanta भजन्तया पित्रोपामनत्रितो भगवती वासुदेवा एवैव वादान समाधि योगेन समावसित सकलकराखा क्रियाकलापो नैव अभ्यनन्दयदायपि तदप्रत्यामानत्वयं तदधिकारण आत्मनो अन्यस्माद् असतोऽपि पराभवम् Shamanaha. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Surya Prakash Rao Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी धन्यवाद प्रणाम
Dhanwad Pranam.
हरे कृष्ण ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय हेरि वावः राजन् स राजपुत्रः प्रियवताः परम भागवतो नारदस्य चरणोपसेवयाङ्गसावगता परमात्मपरसतत्वोपब्रह्मसत्रेण दीक्षस्य मानाम् अवनितल परिपालनायां नत परमगुण गणायिकान्त भजतया स्वास्ति स्वापित्रपामन्त्रितो भगवती वासुदेव एव व्यवधानद्यपि तदप्रत्याम्यातव्यं तदैकरण आत्मन्योन्यस्मद सतोपि परम भवम अन्विक्षमापणः हरे कृष्ण प्रभु
Thank you, Prabhuji. Surekha Mataji, I would request you to just look out if Brahmakishwari Mataji has joined us.
Okay, Prabhu.
She might surface like a submarine anytime. Chitra Mohini Devi Dasi. Please go ahead, Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय यर्रिवावाह राजन् स राजपुत्र प्रियवतः परमो भागवतो नारदस्य चरणोपसेवया अजंस अवगत परमार्थ सत्त्वो ब्रह्मसत्रेण दीशिक्यमान मान अवनितल परिपालनाय अम्नात्ना प्रवर गुण गणैककान्त भाजनातया स्वष्टित्रोपमन्त्रितो भगवते वासुदेव एव अव्यवधानसमाधियोगेन समावेशित सकलकारकक्रियाकलापो नैवाभ्यनन्द यदपि तदपत्रमनात्यायं तदधिकरण आत्मनो अन्यस्माद् सतोऽपि पराभवम् अनीक्षक्षमाणाः। हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you, Mataji. Prafulla Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी यर्हि वावः राजन् स राजपुत्रः प्रियव्रतः परम भगवतो नारदस्य चरणोपसेवञ्जन् स भगवत परमार्थ सतत्तो ब्रह्म सत्रेण दीक्षिष्यमाण अवनीतल परिपालनाय अमन्त्र प्रवरो गुण गणायिकान्त भजन्तय स्वपित्र आमन्त्रितो भगवती वासुदेव एव व्यवधान समाधि योगिन समस्कृत सकल कारक क्रियाकल्प नैवे भावमण्डल यद्यपि तत्प्रत्यात्मनतव्यं तदधिकरण आत्मन्य अन्यस्माद् सतोपि पराभवमक्षणाः। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु। थैंक यू प्रभु।
Thank you, Mataji. Vijaya Kumari Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna.
यर्हि वावाह राजन् स राजपुत्रः प्रियवृद परम भागवतो नारदस्य शरणोपसे व्याञ्जशावहद परमार्थ सदत्तो ब्रह्मवदो सत्रेण दीशिष्य मयो आपणदिव परिपालनो याम्नद प्रवर गुण कणैकान्त पाज दैशाश्वः पितृोपमन्त्रितो भगति वासुदेव एवाव्यवदन समाधियोगेन समावोषित सकलकारः क्रिया कलभो नैवाप्यनन्द यत्यापि तत् अप्रत्याम्नदव्यं तत् अधिकारण आत्मनो अन्यस्मात् असदो पराभवम् अन्वीषमाणः। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। थैंक यू।
Thank you, Mataji. Madhu Soni Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
यर्हि
Krishna.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय यर्हि वावः राजन्स राजपुत्रः प्रियव्रतः परं भागवतो नारदस्य चरणोपसेवायाञ्जसावगत परमार्थसतत्वो ब्रह्मसत्रेण दीक्षिष्यमाणः अवनितपरिपालनयाम्ना प्रवरगुण गणैकान्त भाजन्तया स्वपित्रोप आमन्त्रितो भगवती वासुदेव एवाव्य अवधान समाधिन योगेन समाविते सकलकारक क्रियाकलापो नैवाभ्य अनन्द्य अद्यपि तद प्रत्यात्मनातव्यं तदधिकरण आत्मनो अन्यस्मादसतो अपि पराभवी मन्वी क्षमाणः। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, थैंक यू।
Thank you, Mataji. Subbarao Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. You were absent for last 2-3 days.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yesterday was
Are
very
you all
engaged.
right? Are
Yes,
you all right?
Prabhuji. Little health issues were there, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Okay. Now fine.
Yerhi Vavaharajan Saprajaputra Priyavrata Parama Bhagavato Naradasya Charanopasevayanga Savagata Paramartha Satatvo Brahma Satrena Dikshishyamano Avanitala Paripalanayam Nata Pravara Gunaganaikanta Bhajanataya Swapitro Pramantrito Bhagavati Vasudeva Eva Vyavadhana Samadhi Yogena Samaveshita Sakala Karaka Kriya Kalapo Naiva Bhyananda Yadapi Tada Pratyamnatavyam Tadhadikarana Atmanonyasmada Satopi Parabhavanvikshamanaha. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Ayushi Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। यर्हि वावहराजन् स राजपुत्र प्रियव्रता परम भागवतो नारदस्य चरणापसेवयाञ्जस्य भगता परमार्थसात्वतो ब्रह्मसत्रेण दीक्ष्यमानो वानितल परिपालयन् आत्मना प्रवर गुणैकान्त भजन् तया स्वः पित्रो भगवती वासुदेव एव वदान समाधियोगेन समविशिष्ट सकलकारक क्रियकलापो नैव अभ्यानन्द यदि अपि तद् अचित्यमानतव्यं तद् अधिकरण आत्मनो अन्यस्मात् असतो अपि प्रभवम्. Can you please scroll up?
Can you see now?
Yes, Rosie. Prabhavam anavikshmana. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Madhuswari Mataji, would you like to read synonyms for us?
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Little long.
Yarhi, because. Yavaha, indeed. Rajan, O king. Sah, he. Rajputra, the prince. Priyavrata, Param, supreme. Bhagavata, devotee. Naradhasya, of Narad. Charana, the lotus feet. Upasevya, by serving. Anjasa, quickly. Avagata, became aware of. Param Artha, transcendental subject matter. Sa Tattva, with all knowledgeable facts. Brahma Sastrena, by continuous discussion of the Supreme. Dikshiya Manaha, desiring to fully dedicated himself. Amni Tala, the surface of the globe. Paripalyanya, to rule over. Amnata, directed in the revealed scriptures. Pravara, highest. Guna, of qualities. Gana, the sum total. Ekanta, without deviation. Bhajantya, because of his possessing. Swapitra, by his father, Upamantritah, being asked Bhagavati, in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeve, the all-pervading Lord, Iva, certainly, Avyavadhana, without cessation, Samadhi Yogena, by practicing yoga in complete absorption, Samavesita, completely dedicated, Sakala, all, Karaka, senses, Kriya Kalpaha, whose total activities, Na, not, Iva, thus, Abhyana, that, welcomed, Yadapi, although that, Tat, that, apar, apratya manatvayam, not to be rejected for any reason. The tat adhikarene, in occupying that post, atmanah, of himself, anyasmat, by other engagements, as, asatah, material, api, certainly, parabhavam, deterioration, Anvikshamanah, for seeing. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Danvat Pranam.
Thank you very much. All of you are wonderful people. You could recite the verse and such are big synonyms. Thank you, all of you. You are better than me. All of you are better. Translation.
You are too modest, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare
So you're
Krishna.
doing,
Yeah, I think you are
doing
missing me 3 days. 3 days.
Prabhuji, you are
wonderful.
giving us opportunity, Prabhuji. Like today's verse is like, oh wow, it's
Yes,
like
yes,
long
yes,
verse,
yes.
Prabhuji. So,
All
Yes,
his
that's
this
true.
thing support. Otherwise, we could not have read.
Thank you. Thank you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sukadev Goswami continued. In the previous verse, it was Sukadev Goswami said. So he began his speech, and the same speech now continues. My dear king, he is telling this to Parikshit Maharaj. Prince Priyavrata was a great devotee because he sought the lotus feet of Narada, his spiritual master, and thus achieved the highest perfection in transcendental knowledge. With advanced knowledge, he always engaged in discussing spiritual subjects and did not divert his attention to anything else. The prince's father then asked him to take charge of ruling the world. He tried to convince Priyavrata that this was his duty as indicated in the revealed scriptures. Prince Priyavrata, however, was continuously practicing Bhakti Yoga by constantly remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thus engaging all his senses in the service of the Lord. Therefore, although the order of his father could not be rejected, the prince did not welcome it. Thus, he very conscientiously raised the question of whether he might be diverted from devotional service by accepting the responsibility of ruling over the world. Translation is no lesser than the verse itself. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has sung Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Priyeche Kakeba. Without serving the lotus feet of a pure Vaishnava or spiritual master, no one has ever attained perfect liberation from material bondage. Prince Priyavata regularly served the lotus feet of the Narada, and thus the prince perfectly understood transcendental subject in truth, Sa Tattvaha. The word Sa Tattvaha means that Priyavrata knew all the facts about the spirit soul, the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, the relationship between the spirit soul and the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, and he also knew all about this material world and the relationship of the spirit soul and the Supreme Lord within the material world. Thus, the prince decided to engage himself only in rendering the service to the Lord. That was his decision until his father ordered him. When Priyavrata's father, Swayambhu Manu, requested him to accept the responsibility of ruling over the world, he did not welcome the suggestion. This is the symptom of a great liberated devotee. Even though engaged in the worldly affairs, he does not take pleasure in them, but remains always absorbed in the Lord's service. While thus serving the Lord, he deals externally with worldly affairs without being affected. For example, although he has no attraction for his children, he cares for them and educates them to become devotee. Similarly, he speaks to his wife with affectionate words, but he is not attached to her. By rendering devotional service, a devotee acquires all the good qualities of the Supreme Lord. Lord Krishna had 16,000 wives, all of them very beautiful, and although he dealt with each of them as a beloved husband, he was not attached or attracted to any of them. In the same way, although a devotee may enter family life and act very affectionately towards his wife and children, he is never attached to these activities. This verse states that by serving the lotus feet of his spiritual master, Prince Priyavrata very soon attained the perfectional stage of Krishna consciousness. This is the only way to advance in spiritual life. As stated in Vedas, Yashva Deva Parabhaktir Yatha Deve Tatha Gurahu. Tashyate Kartita Hai Astha Prakashante Mahate Manaha. If one has unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord and the spiritual master, the essence of all Vedic knowledge is revealed to him. This is a reference of Svetaswara Upanishad 6.23. A devotee always thinks of the Lord continuously while chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. The words Krishna and Hare immediately reminds him of all the Lord's activities. Since his entire life is engaged in the service of the Lord, a devotee cannot forget the Lord at any time. Just as an ordinary man always engages his mind in the material activities, a devotee always engages his mind in spiritual activity. This is called Brahma Satra, or meditating upon SPOG. Always, Prince Priyavrata was perfectly initiated into the practice by Sri Narada. Pretty long purport, but self-explanatory and explained very well. As always, Prabhupada explains it so well that at times you feel whether it really needs any more discussion or not. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji, we can hear you.
Thank you, thank you. Because my Bluetooth keeps warning me, I don't know for what. So Narottam Das Thakur, it begins with the Narottam Das Thakur's concept that without serving the lotus feet of the pure Vaishnava or the spiritual master, no one can ever attain perfect liberation from this material bondage. Prince Priyavrata has been regularly serving Narada, his spiritual master, and he understood transcendental subjects very well. The transcendental subjects are about truth, and that's what we call Satatvaha. Priyavrata knew what is soul, what is Supreme Personality of the Godhead, what is the relationship between the soul and the Supreme Person, Supreme Personality, what is the relationship of Lord, soul in the material world. That means he had a perfect Vedic knowledge. One who has a perfect Vedic knowledge is said to be a liberated person. Thus, Priyavrata at that moment decided to continue only remaining engaged in the devotional service to his spiritual master, that is, Narad Muni. However, his father, Swayambhu Manu, then at some stage instructs him or requests him to take the reign of the kingdom and rule over the world. This was something that he could not disobey his father and the, reject the suggestion. And so he started engaging by ruling the world. Though he was always engaged in all worldly affairs, he didn't really take any pleasure out of it. In other words, he was not really attached to the worldly affairs, and he kept his mind absorbed in Lord Krishna. So one does not take any pleasure out of the work, remains and does his duty, and gets no attachment, but keeps his mind absorbed in the Lord, is always not detached from any action or reaction. He took care of the children, educated them, but was never attached to it. So mind you, it's not really what you do, but it's how you do. If you are doing your things as your prescribed duties, without getting attached to its roots, its aspects, its affairs, you always remain detached from it. And the best way to do this is to remain aloof from the results of the activity that you do, what we call Nishkam Karma. That's one of the reasons why in Karma Yoga, Nishkam Karma is suggested. If you remain away or aloof from the results of the activities, automatically you remain away from attaching and getting pleasures out of those activities. Similarly, Priyavrata was behaving with his wife, though affectionately and talking nicely with good words. He was neither attracted nor attached to his wife. In other words, these are the actions that are showing to all us grahasthas how to behave and remain in this world. Renunciation can never be an answer to all the problems of the material world. It's very difficult and it takes a lot of toll. The easier path is grahasthashram, but at the same time remaining aloof or disattached or detached. The example given is Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna had 16,000 wives and still he was never attached to any one of them. He actually individually looked after them, each of them separately, and still he was neither attracted nor attached to any of these wives. So that kind of a yoga or connection you should have with the Supreme Lord and not with the material world, then you have won the war. The most important aspect of this purport is unflinching faith in the Lord and the spiritual master. If you develop unflinching faith, both in the Lord and the spiritual master, because both are same, then automatically the essence of all the Vedic literature is revealed to you by mercy of your spiritual master and Lord. What is the meaning of unflinching faith? The meaning of unflinching faith is surrendering to Lord. When you surrender to the Lord, you are not worried about yourself. You are not worried about your maintenance. You are not worried about your health. You are not worried about your upkeeping. But you have total faith that all these things will be looked after by the person you have surrendered. So it's very important that we develop these strong faith, a faith so strong that it could be called unflinching to our spiritual master and the Lord. If we can do that, then automatically by their mercy, we probably will be revealed with all the essence of the scriptures. We may not do the laborious work because as such also we are taking a task of going through Srimad Bhagavatam. And one always wonders whether it will be completed in the lifetime because there are 12 volumes and so many things to do with it. And so we all are going to need mercy of the Lord and the spiritual master at some stage to call it done. So it's not easy. The task that we have taken is not easy. And so Srila Prabhupada is telling us that purpose of reading Srimad Bhagavatam and attending the morning class is not just reading the story and trying to understand it as a story, but try and develop faith, faith in the Lord and faith in the spiritual master so strong that you surrender, and then probably you may not need to go through all the revealed scriptures, and still you will have the essence known to you by their mercy. So, in other words, it's only possible to go over everything that exists in this world by the mercy of spiritual master or the Lord. Howsoever strong you are, howsoever intelligent you are, it may be very, very difficult to go through everything in one's lifetime. So the purpose of doing all that we are doing, chanting, seva, attending classes, reading and trying to understand it, what we call manan. The purpose is to develop the faith. And that faith should be stronger and stronger every day with your further chanting. And ultimately, it may lead us to surrender to Lord. Once we surrender to Lord, then most of the things are gone over. So we are ahead with a task which is not easy, and that's why devotional service is not a nivrutti, that you don't do anything, sit in the corner and enjoy your life, have fun. But it is a pravrutti. It's an active participation into the process of seva, sadhana, and all that goes with it. Prabhupada also tells us that a devotee never forgets Krishna. A devotee is always engaged with his mind, the spiritual activity, as against the fact that a human materialist is engaged in the material activity. One who is engaged with his mind, always in the spiritual activity, is known as Brahmasatra. Always meditating upon the Supreme Personality of the Godhead is a stage that we also try to achieve. We may keep doing our work, our daily chore, and all other work that we are prescribed and supposed to do it, but at the same time, we can keep the mind fully absorbed in Lord Krishna. Srila Prabhupada gives a very good answer to how easily can it be done. He says, keep chanting Hare Krishna while you do all the work. That will actively keep your mind into Krishna. You will be listening to Krishna all the while you are doing all your work. These are some of the ways that these realized souls and our acharyas are telling us so that our journey could be easier and smoother. These tips, though they look very small, they actually go a long way and help you counter so many anarthas and so many other things that hinders your spiritual progress in this material world. At the end, Prabhupada has a wonderful sentence, says that Priyavrata was perfectly initiated into the practice by his spiritual master, Narad Muni. So we understand that he has to rule the world, and in spite of taking up the position of ruling the world, in spite of becoming Grahastha Vrata, as we learned earlier, in spite of having a wife which he takes care affectionately and educates the children to become Krishna conscious and get liberated, with this work he is still attached to the spiritual master and the Lord Krishna all the time by remaining absorbed in Lord Krishna all the time. In this way, indirectly, Prabhupada is telling us, refuting that you can't be in a grahastha and progress in the spiritual life, which we all are trying to do. So he's showing us a lamppost that this is possible and we can do it. The purport had been long, and so also the verse. And so the verse is also quite difficult, but you all did very well. Any question, any revelation, any addition into this verse, or anything else beyond the verse? Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, the message is leaving the family life like Padma Patra Mivambhasa, not attached to family members, wife and children, do Krishna conscious practice and at the same time lead the family life without attachment. Is it correct?
Yes, Mother.
Ma Manusmara
Very true.
Yudhyacha.
Yes,
Ma
Mother.
Manusmara.
Very,
Priority has to be
yeah.
given for Krishna conscious activities and at the same time
Yeah.
lead the family life without attachment.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
That's the message. And the best way to do, as Prabhupada says, is keep chanting while you are doing everything else. You may not need to chant always, all the time in a loud manner, but you can keep chanting even in your mind. That also will keep you absorbed in Lord Krishna. So the practical tip is that remain thinking about Krishna, and best way to remain thinking about Krishna with people like us who are material people is to keep chanting in the mind all the time whenever you are doing anything else. And you will realize that chanting never distracts you from your work that you are doing as a prescribed duty. Thank you, Mataji, for adding that. That's wonderful. Yes, very
Thank you,
nice.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Go ahead, Prabhuji.
What's the realization I get from this is affection is different, attraction is different.
Yes.
Responsibility is
That's true,
different. Responsibility is different. And realizing the ultimate duty of you is different.
Yes.
So the affection can be towards the wife or children and doing those activities which are required for children to develop them and at the same time make them the devotees, and wife to assist in all her requirements. At the same time, the attraction and fixing of the mind should be always on Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Otherwise,
Yes,
people may misinterpret the affection as attraction and as if that is the only main activity.
Yes. Very, very true, Subhara Prabhuji. It's very true that it is our attachment that actually brings all the reactions. If you are not attached, then you are free from all reactions. Very similar to once I told you, the legal system that we have. If we look at our legal system, the basic concept is that it is the intention which counts the most. While deciding the punishment, even if someone has murdered, intentions are always looked at. If the intention was to kill and even he did not succeed to kill, he is punished as if there is a murder. Even if person's intentions were clear, they were not intentional attacks, it was accidental. And even if the person is dead, that person is free or called as manslaughter. So it's the intention. And that's why Prabhupada has explained, as Gita explains to us, that when you keep your mind away from the results and you are not caring for the results, the half the battle is won. And that's why everybody is suggesting in Bhagavad Gita the Nishkam Karma. So we are looking at two-pronged attack to progress in our spiritual life. One is trying to do Nishkam Karma. Don't look at the results. Do your job, do it well, do with full force and affection, and then leave it there. You're not worried about result. Result is for Krishna. And second is, whenever you're doing any of your prescribed duties, keep chanting and keep your mind absorbed in Lord Krishna. This way, you will gradually come out of this material world and go back to Godhead with the mercy of your spiritual master and Lord Himself. Dinesh Saxena, Dr. Dinesh Saxena Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam.
Dandvat Pranam Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. I think you have beautifully summarized it, but may I add something, Prabhuji?
Please, please, please.
So it is
Teach us.
what I understand. It is detached attachment while performing prescribed duty assigned to a particular Varna ashrama. That is the essence of your teachings, Prabhuji. This is what I understand. Is it okay?
Yes, perfectly fine. You said well said, Prabhuji. Thank you.
It is detached attachment while performing prescribed duties as per the Varnashrama.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. That was wonderfully said. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sujata Subhash Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sujata Subhash
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Well, it was well explained, Prabhuji, but I just want to know, is it due to our false ego that we get into this attachment, Prabhuji? I mean, how does it come?
Mataji, I somehow feel little differently. All our attachments come in because we ultimately look at the result of what we do. If I am teaching here, I am looking at how am I teaching. It's not my business at all. When I try to work, I try to do the best thing, and Lord Krishna will look after whatever I need to tell. And then I am also not worried about the beautiful words that come out because it's Lord Krishna. I mean, some kind of that detachment from the results of all the activities that we do. In the material world, we have been trained and conditioned so strongly that we ultimately aim at the result, that I want to achieve this, and then we make the path and we follow the goal. This is what we try and do even in the spiritual path. They are telling us that in spiritual path, it's not the result. Everything will come to you. Even Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says that why are you interested? He tells to Arjuna once, why are you interested in so much detail about the knowledge? Just come to me and you will have the knowledge. That means all this knowledge that is also should come to you as a mercy more easily and probably perfectly than what we attempt and learn and achieve. So what I'm trying to say is, I mean, when we are trying to learn, attend the classes, all these things actually help us develop faith in whatever we are aiming at. And that faith is most important. Faith in your spiritual master, faith in your Lord. And that faith, the degree has to keep increasing. So if we really want to look at our own progress also, we look at how much faith have we. And to determine faith, as Namanishta Prabhuji says time and again, is the compassion that develops in you is most important. The difference between the karmi and the devotee is the compassion. karmis do not have compassion because they have to succeed, and devotees have compassion. You think of others more than you think about yourself. That's kind of a definition of compassion. And if you develop stronger and stronger compassion about others, you are going right on a good path. Not very clear, Mataji, but does it make some sense?
Yes, Mata, yes, Prabhuji. I mean, there's something like, like the words, is it false ego attachment? We use so many words like this. So how do we get the essence of it? Thank you, Prabhuji, so
It's
much.
I and mind which has to go and we has to come. Surya Prakash Rao Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Wonderful narration. You have very vividly explained to it this sloka. So many things are there. I want to say about the karma and that also you have covered. And then the class, what I understood from the derivation, and so you have prepared nice dish. Add to the salt our section asa bhi kuch bol diya, acha bol diya. See, the essence of this is that class. See, Prachatra is the classic example to us how to lead a material in this material life. See, he has not disobeyed the orders of his father, and he has conducted his responsibility, that is Swadharma. But he was always attached to in that. He was in the spiritual life. He was always remembering Krishna, doing all that Jatmika, this thing. And second point is the Gurudeva. He surrendered to the Guru, feet of his Guru, so that he was not disturbed by any of this material attraction. As Prabhu told, attachment to detachment. He has shown love and affection to his children. He shown love and affection to his wife, but he was not attracted by this charishma, her charishma. What a wonderful, these all our in the day-to-day life, what happened, how to come out of this thing, Maya.
Exactly.
So that is how it has vividly explained here nicely. So what we have to do is always Nityam Bhagavata Seva, always Sravanam Mananam of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And the great Prabhu, our Prabhu Prakash Prabhuji and Nita K. Prabhu Kishore was already using our cleansing our minds. So Hare Krishna Japam, at least all our devotees, we have to count minimum 16 rounds of Hare Krishna. That will keep us always in this Adhyatmika, this thing. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have just told whatever I got it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Surya Prakash Rao Prabhuji. You are very right. Your revelations are perfect. And so, in nutshell, if we say, it's not only just the development of the faith, we need mercy of our senior devotees, our spiritual master, and the Lord. It's the mercy that ultimately going to let us surrender to the Lord. And once we surrender to the Lord, we are taken back to Godhead. So there are multiple factors, but these are some of the practical ways of getting further progress into the spiritual life. Thank you very much, Surya Prakash Rao Prabhuji. Dr. Shakti Avasthi. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Actually, Surya Rao Prabhuji has covered my point, but I want to add one more thing almost. It's like we are in Krishna consciousness, Prabhuji. Our process is such that many people, whosoever are coming devotees, when they listen, they start to say, yeah, we need to detach from the people. How come? We have so much affection, we have so much love for our kids. How can we be detached? So I have one point which I observed for myself in Krishna consciousness, that it's not about detachment. It's detachment, but it's not about you need to get detached all of a sudden. You don't need to leave anything. You need to give so much care to your kids as you are giving. But this some moment of time when we are adding Krishna to our life, all of a sudden he's so attractive. All of a sudden in this process, we start to feel so much love and affection for Krishna that all of a sudden we start to feel love for everybody. in the world. We start to feel, yes, everybody is same. They are doing their task. It is what God has assigned the duties to them. So ultimately, the detachment, we do not need to leave anything. We just need to follow the practice of Krishna consciousness. And at the same moment of time, we are attached to the Supreme. So we are developing our affection towards Him so that ultimately we can achieve Krishna Prema. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Shakti Mataji. You are absolutely right. It's not detachment which is given a priority, that you first shiver all your relationship and then come to spiritual part. It's the attachment which is very important. And that's why Srila Prabhupada taught us that develop a better taste and remain attached to a better taste. So develop a taste in the spiritual path and then remain attached to spiritual path, and you will get stronger and stronger attachment. The moment the attachment becomes stronger and stronger, your affection and attachment and attraction of the material world would slowly start detaching itself. So you don't need to actively detach anything. Just attach yourself to a higher and better taste. And the higher and better taste is the sadhana and seva that we all do. So you are absolutely right, Shakti Mataji. Thank you very much for your revelation. You always have wonderful revelations. Sureka Mataji, you had raised your hand, but then you thought there are too many. So you relieved me by dropping the hand. Please go ahead.
No, Mataji. No, Prabhuji. I didn't raise.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Yeah. Just the same thing I was thinking, that attachment to Krishna is more important, because the other part, the detachment from material world, automatically takes place. So as you do sadhana, you chant rounds and then do all the Archa Vigraha Puja and everything, that develops our faith and our love towards Krishna. And as this process takes us more towards attachment to Krishna, the detachment automatically occurs. That is what I was thinking.
Yes. That's true, Sureka Mataji. Thank you very much. That addition is good. In fact, if you look at it, if you want to detach from anything, you got to hate it. Then and then you can detach from it. You've gone through the stories that we see on a Bollywood movie, that a woman doesn't want to get married, then she creates a situation, or a man creates a situation that he is a bad man, and that's the hate comes, and thus the marriage doesn't occur. Something like that. So you need to hate it. And what are you going to hate? Maya? Maya is a creation of the Lord. And certainly Lord would not like that you hate something that he has created. And so, as Damanista Prabhu once said very nicely, you don't need to hate Maya. Why should you hate? Maya is good. Maya is good in its own position. But you develop a taste for the spiritual aspect of it, and then automatically your taste towards Maya would start disappearing, and Maya would gradually leave its clutches from you, and you will get detached yourself. So very true, Mataji. It is the attachment which is more important than the detachment. Well, we have gone overboard today a bit, but any other question, any other revelation? If there are none, I think we can call it a day. All of you have a wonderful day ahead. Hare Krishna to all the devotees. Thank you very much for attending the class and being so active and participating. I love this. Excellent. You people are all much more worthier than me. Hare Krishna to everyone.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Dandavat Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Dandavat Pranam.
Prabhuji,
Yes, Prabhu.
I request one thing on behalf of all our devotees. Yesterday, because I have some issue in the left eye, so 3 days I didn't come. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Is student, can I am permitted to speak? No.
Yes, please go ahead.
Because already too late. No, 2
No
minutes.
problem.
Yesterday night.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I heard that your lectures recorded. Mataji was feeling that we are more active in your class than her. But please explain her. She had a versatile knowledge. No, we cannot compare to you and her. But everybody has I have heard so many lectures like Amarendra Prabhuji, Nita Sevani Mataji, Gauranga Prabhu, so many lectures. They got their own. Central point is Krishna only, Krishna consciousness. So please explain that. Let her not bother.
I'll
Please,
tell you one
you
thing.
have the expertise and convince her. Thank you.
Actually,
am I correct?
don't
Devotees,
worry.
all Sureka Mataji and others, please. Hare Krishna.
Prema Kishori Mataji is just teasing all of us.
Yes,
She
she's
is a
teasing, right?
very senior devotee.
Yes.
These are all realized souls. Don't tell us that they behave as if they are like us. So even if she is telling something, don't take it seriously. She is telling for some other purposes, probably to bring us nearer to Lord Krishna.
Yes,
She is much more smarter and much more intelligent than all we are.
Yeah,
So don't worry about her.
No second thought to it. Hare Krishna.
she
Yes,
is very so she is just rebooking us so that we remain in line and remain in spiritual path.
Yes,
That's her
Prabhuji.
only purpose.
Hare Krishna.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Acha bol diya Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams.
Dandavat pranam to all of you. Hare Krishna to everyone.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.